The fishing rights will not derail the EU and UK security pact, says the European Council's president. Going to read into this more from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Guardian with the headline that fishing rights will not derail the EU-UK security pact, says the European Council president. With member states keen to link quotas to any deal, António Costa says defence and fisheries are different things. Indeed they are. Let's be very clear about this. Fishing is a very, very small contribution, a very, very small contribution to the UK economy, as I want to be very, very clear about that. It is a very, very small contribution. That being said, it is still an area that is, in my opinion, still, while it is a low contribution to the UK economy, is still important. People's jobs, people's livelihoods are at stake if fishing is put at risk. And I think that's really, really important. We have to remember that these fishermen and fisherwomen. They were made promises before Brexit that they would be able to get more fish and that they would be better off and whatnot. And it is found that actually they've ended up having to pay more for their fishing than they used to. And I don't think that it's right to link fishing in any way, shape, or form to the security pact that's looking to be made here between the two, between the UK and the EU, and I think it's nonsense to say so. I understand that there are cases and arguments taking place between Denmark and Norway and France with certain fishing territories and whatnot. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat on that, so I do know that there are still many issues regarding fishing between the EU and the UK. But in turn here on this security pact, let me be very, very clear here. Regardless, it is in both the EU's and the UK's best interest to have more dialogue when it comes to security. You know, Europe is at war with what's happening in Ukraine. Russia has gotten a grip, has caused humongous damage to instability in Africa with its influences there, and we know that there has been some Russian interference in the Brexit referendum, and a lot of people have made the speculation, whether it's true or not, that he's had a hand in Donald Trump getting re-elected. Don't know if it's true or not, but you can make what you will of that. And Europe needs all the best security and defence that it possibly can, and the UK needs to do so as well. And we are much better having a closer alignment with the EU than anybody else, because guess what? We're European. We literally are on the coast of France, off the France on an island. So it's in our interest to do so as well. But to be absolutely clear here, I don't think that fishing rights will be thrown or derailed in any way, shape or form, and I agree with the European Council President on this matter. So the EU will not let the question of fishing rights derail a pact with the UK on security and defence, the President of the European Council has said. So the comments from António Costa, who took over as the European Council President in December, is a boost for Keir Starmer amid frustration among UK officials over EU insistence on linking a security deal to other demands, notably fishing rights. Costa said the EU wanted the closest relation as possible with the UK, asking whether fishing rights would get in the way of a security pact. He said, "No, these are different things. European defence and fisheries cannot be put on the same level. We should have common sense about what we are talking about." And he's absolutely right. And we know that there are certain outlets, certain YouTubers, certain influencers, certain medias who will try to put this square peg in the round hole analogy here. He was speaking to reporters 3 days after Starmer outlined his ideas for an EU-UK security pact at a dinner with EU leaders on Monday, first time a British Prime Minister has attended the European Council since Brexit. Costa said he had been a very important moment where everybody expressed that we will need to strengthen our cooperation on security and defence. Along with the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, Costa will travel to the UK for an EU-UK summit on the 19th of May. The meeting is expected to yield an agreement to open negotiations in a range of areas, although precisely outcomes remain uncertain. This is good. Obviously this EU-UK summit and the fact that Costa is going to be travelling for it, it's very good. allows us to continue dialogue with the EU on things, and openly open up on some on ranges of issues that we have, and perhaps we can come to agreements on certain things with the EU. I want to stress it's just discussions, nothing concrete on it. For the EU, our main concern is the post-Brexit fishery agreement that expires in June 2026. Member states want to maintain a status quo, but the Prime Minister will face pressure to secure bigger quotas for British fishing fleets. According to diplomatic sources, a large majority of member states favour a package approach, linking all topics of the EU-UK reset, including security, fishing rights and a youth mobility deal. Striking a more imminent tone, Costa said, what is important now is to take note of a wish of the United Kingdom to reset their relations with the European Union, and our wish to have the closest relationship as possible with the United Kingdom, namely on security and defence. The other day was important to implement previous agreements, overcome problems, and prevent new problems. Senior EU diplomats view UK relations as the easy bit of Monday's summit, which include talks on how to deal with US President, who has voiced open hostilities to the EU, as well as a debate about funding European defence projects in incurring common debt. The EU needs to find $500 billion for extra defence investment over the next decade, the Commissioner has said. Asked about common debts to raise defence funds, Costa said he could not exclude any solutions. The summit was not the moment to draw red lines, but a brainstorming and a moment to open green lanes to create a space to debate, he said. Yeah. So it's just essentially confirming that more dialogue needs to take place between the EU and the UK, and I'm all for it. And I don't think you could put everything together, all the topics of EU-UK reset into one topic. I just don't think you can do that. I understand that premise. I understand why people would want that, to try and make it easier. But there's just going to be, like, if we're not going to be joining the single market and customs union, which those are considered red lines by Labour, then we're going to have to do them all these things by case, individual issue by issue on different bits. Excuse me. It can't all be done at once. We have to be realistic about what we can and can't achieve here. But I understand people's frustrations. I really do on this. But I do hope that Keir Starmer will get new assurances and new assurances, and hopefully more constructive dialogue as we continue to go on. And hopefully in May we'll have more. There won't be any big deals or anything announced with the UK-EU. I don't think straight away, but there'll be more conversations taking place, which is what we want. So what do you guys think? What do you guys make of the fishing rights that we have? The EU-UK Security Pact, do you agree that that really is a priority for the benefits at both sides? Let me know your thoughts and more on this down in the comments section below. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button, share this across social media, and subscribe for further content. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.